What old insults need to make a comeback? You may be slow as hell, but at least everything you do is wrong. The old guy I used to work with would rain deadpan, sort of passive-aggressive insults on me all day. I miss that dude. Who is this clown? Because 1, you're calling them a clown, and 2, you're saying they are not even a well-known clown. My 2 favorite have always been Chump and, especially, Dunce. They just roll of the tongue so well. It looks like somebody lit his face on fire and beat it out with a wet chain. Said by my dad regarding Keith Richards. Another good one is apparently Winston Churchill said to a woman once, "Madam, would you sleep with me for £1,000,000? Her response, "Certainly, Mr. Churchill, madam. Would you sleep with me for £1? Her response, "Mr. Churchill, what kind of woman do you think I am?" Churchill, we've already determined what kind of woman you are, madam. Now we are just bartering on a price that is one hell of an insult if you ask me. I do desire we may be better strangers. I've been using that one a lot recently. Hasn't caught on. See you later. Not if I see you first. Took me forever to understand that the second person would vamoose, am scray, and generally get the fuck out of there. My grandmother always said nothing to write home about. I love it because it isn't inherently offensive, and a great way to say someone or something isn't special. I use it all the time, and realize only after the blank stares that it isn't a common saying, but just one I grew up with. You couldn't find a stick in the woods. You're a few fries short of a happy meal. Your gene pool could use some chlorine. You're about as sharp as a bowling ball. 2 of my favorites. I would have been your daddy, but the dog beat me under the fence. I would have been your daddy, but the guy behind me had correct change. That's the only shade of green you're gonna get. When a red light turns green and the driver in front of you just sits there. Nimrod is a pretty good one. Always remember it from Pulp Fiction. Jules? You give that fucking Nimrod $1,500. I'll shoot him on general principle. A Welshman once shared with me his most cherished insult, which was thrown his way while in a bar in Scotland. Are talking to me or chewing on a brick. Either way you'll lose your teeth. My mom told me this one. She once dated a Spaniard and he was talking about how much richer the insults are in Spanish. Her family pressed him for the worst insult he could think of. He explained that it sounds better in Spanish, but the translation is "you play with the aborted fetuses of your mother." Mind you, this was around 40 plus years ago. Basically it means you're gay for playing with dolls. Different time. Back when being gay was bad. Your mother is a woman of easy virtue and going to hell as evidenced by her multiple abortions. And your family is just dirty because they haven't disposed of something so disgusting. One of the consultants at my work was furious with a transcript they were given, and disgustedly exclaimed, "Which imbecile has written this? What a fantastic word." I like to wish common, general inconveniences on people that I am unhappy with. I hope you stub your toe. I hope you have to wake up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I hope you have to turn left on a busy road. My mom's personal favorite that she used on my dad when they argued. Big wins come from empty caves. Not an English insult, but my grandpa told me that a long time ago in our country they used to say, "Naj tirovsny," which roughly translates to, "I hope your Brussels sprouts rot." Johnny Carson used to say about fat people with tight pants, "Looks like a sack of cats heading for the river." What a ding-dong. It's fun to say. Makes people laugh and seems so harmless that any retort is unmitigated escalation. And yet no one wants to be called a ding-dong. Angers and emasculates. My dad would always tell me, in a jokingly way of course, things like, "You have a face for the radio and you look like you did a 100-yard dash in a 50-yard gym." What do guys with big DKS eat for breakfast? The person usually says, "I don't know." And then you respond, "I knew you wouldn't know." Burke, I remember my teachers at school and parents using it / a lot /. And it was 20 years before I found out what it meant. Isn't it dangerous to use one's entire vocabulary in a single sentence? Thank you, Oliver and company. What old insults need to make a comeback? You remind me of my favorite Hollywood film star. Which one? Rin Tin Tin. Lady Nancy Astor. Winston. If you were my husband, I'd poison your tea. Churchill. Nancy. If I were your husband, I'd drink it. Runner-up. I may be drunk, miss, but in the morning I will be sober and you will still be ugly. Calling people a snake openly. I wish people didn't play politics in life and work so much. I wish I didn't have to learn the hard way who to trust. You Mewling Quim, said by Loki to Black Widow in the Avengers. But few people realized what a devastating insult that is. I watched Bohemian Rhapsody last night and I am going to start calling people treacherous piss flaps. I'm particularly fond of dipshit. It's not as mean-spirited as asshole or duckwad or sack of shit, but it gets the message across appropriately. Well, my 13-year-old nephew called his 11-year sister an uncultured swine the other day. I shouldn't have laughed, but I did. Curious de Ramparts, lit Ramparts Racer, for women of light or no virtue not full. Well, lit. Dickhead. It's a shame your mother never had any child. Rennie read that once in an old book of jokes from the 50s. Stuck in my head forever. If my dog were as ugly as you, I'd shave its butt and make it walk backwards. The Great Hambino. You're so stupid. If brains were gasoline, you wouldn't have enough to power an ant's motorcycle around the outside of a penny. My grandpa used to say variations of, he was as useless as tits on a boar. My mom claims he used to say teats, which is still savage, but he did not. That dumbass couldn't walk across the street and chew bubblegum at the same time. A favorite from my 83Y/O grandfather. My dad used to case on people hard. He one time told this dude, if brains was wool you wouldn't have enough to knit a flea a wrestling jacket, and also said, you heard of mother duckers that don't know nothing? You don't even suspect nothing. He used to tell me that I needed to use my head for something besides a hat rack every now and then. That's gay before everyone accuses me of slander. Remember, the reason why I wish this would come back was it was before I knew what homosexuality was. It was a quick, simple word to describe something we didn't like. If a 3-letter word could emerge that could take the place of gay, I'd be open to that as an alternative. You're so ugly. A starving dog wouldn't want to play with you even if you had a sirloin steak around your neck. Tales of your misdeeds are told from Ireland to Cathay, and your lowly character is the subject of Grease plays. Take a long walk off a short dock. Some hoser rode pier and missed the opportunity for a rhyme SMH. I do not know how old it is, but I remember hearing someone being called a donut once. It was all in the delivery and it was wondrous. Bessie Braddock MP. Winston. You are drunk. And what's more, you are disgustingly drunk. Winston Churchill. Bessie. My dear. You are ugly. And what's more, you are disgustingly ugly. But tomorrow I shall be sober and you will still be disgustingly ugly.